Tonight on Patriots This Week. Despite its nickname, it's never easy in New Orleans. And Mike Vrabel knows there is no easy win in the NFL.
None of it was perfect today, and, give them a lot of credit.
We will never, ever get to the point, where we're not going to celebrate wins. Straight, give them all damn game balls on me. Let's go.
But the one most deserving of a game ball was already moving on.
Yeah, just go get win number 5. That's my only thought.
So now the first place Patriots head to Tennessee, Mike Vrabel's old team. Will he remember the Titans?
I would probably say this would be very interesting, but in the end, not very important.
This is Patriots This Week.
Well, the Patriots came home on Sunday from New Orleans with a third straight win. They woke up on Tuesday after the Bills fell to the Falcons as a first-place team. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Patriots This Week. I'm Bob Socci, along with my radio partner from 98.5, Scott Zolak, and with Brian Hoyer, two ex-Patriots quarterbacks who've watched the current quarterback ascend, guys, not only to a developing young player in his second season, but really becoming an elite quarterback in this league, if we can go so far as to use that word.
We're starting to learn what Drake May can or can't be, and I think that's the fun part of it. I was speechless on a couple of the throws. Like the one touchdown throw to Booty, the first one. Well, he dropped it right in the bucket, right in front of him. I'm like, I could never do that. You could never do that.
No.
So I'm left speechless on some of it, but it's fun because he's not making the same mistakes over and over.
On the Booty play, Drake said afterwards, one-on-one in this league is open. He didn't look very open on that play, but he found him with a perfect strike.
I think the biggest thing I'm seeing is the confidence. The confidence in which he's playing with, it just tells you everything you need to know where he's at. He is progressing at light speed. I think last week I said he made a 3-year jump in a year. I mean, at this point, after last week, I'm going to say it's 4 or 5 years. Just the way he's moving in the pocket. We didn't see that week 1.
Yeah.
Here he is, week 6, and it's like he's manipulating the pocket. And the thing that I love to see is he knows when he should be hanging in there to throw it. We saw it. You mentioned the Booty touchdown, a few other plays. The one, unfortunately, gets called back, but probably the greatest throw he's made of his career. He steps up into the pocket, drops it into the bucket of Stephon Diggs, and unfortunately it's called back. But I mean, I literally said, oh my God, out loud as I watched that throw, and you're seeing him become a top quarterback right in front of our eyes. Dare I say, he should be in the MVP conversation. I know it's only been 6 weeks, but that's a third of the season.
I think what you are seeing with him is he's feeling comfortable with the offensive line. I think now he understands what Bradbury can do, what a Winter can do. How long can Morgan Moses hold a block on my right side? Do I need to slide up a little bit more? I can totally trust Will Campbell on my backside. I haven't had a kill shot yet. Hey, we got Wilson back in there. So the continuity up front, 5 weeks advance from week 1. So I just think it's everybody coming together, which is pretty good for the offensive coordinator.
In a way, can it go both ways, too, in that a quarterback has confidence in his offensive line and he continues to play better, and the offensive line doesn't want to let that guy down behind him? Bradbury said this week, it's like a pitcher working on a no-hitter. You don't want to say anything to him. You just want to keep him in that groove.
Josh comes in. It's a totally different protection scheme than what was used last year. Drake understands the intent of each play. Like, I'm watching him. He knows when Josh is calling a play to take a shot. He's trying to extend it. He knows when Josh is calling a quick drop back. Okay, I'm getting out of my hand. He knows when it's a play action pass. We saw the typical Patriot play action power pass. He gets through his read, throws the curl to Mac Hollins, I believe. Like, Drake understanding the intent of the play allows the offensive line to play aggressive, knowing that he's not going to hold the ball. And so it's a marriage of all those things together. And when it's been out on the field, I mean, it's been tremendous.
Really has been a case the last game and a half, especially, where the quarterback has carried them to these last 2 wins.
Yeah, and that's what you don't want to become dependent upon, because there's going to be games you're going to have to run the ball. You're going to have bad weather. It's going to be cold. I don't want them to get in a rut that there's people standing around waiting for Drake to make a play. Like, you're going to need all 11 guys. You got to have good balance in this league to win football games, especially with a second-year quarterback.
We've seen Stephon Diggs be the one receiver for a couple of wins in this winning streak. But on Sunday versus New Orleans, we saw Pop Douglas, and we saw Kayshon Boutte reassert himself again with a huge afternoon going back home to Louisiana.
I mean, I love everything about Kayshon Boutte and what he's done as like similar to Drake and the progression that he's made from where he was last year. Yeah, there was glimpses. Now he's really turning himself into a solid receiver with route running. So credit to him and the work he's put in. Credit to Todd Downing and the way he's come in and coached that receiver room. Credit to Josh McDaniels. I mean, just the discipline on his routes this year as opposed to last year are huge. The touchdown, both touchdowns to him were great routes that he ran. Last year it was kind of like, let's just play backyard ball and get open. Now there's discipline in the routes, there's maturity in the way he's handling himself, and it's paying off. So what a cool moment for him to go back down to Louisiana and play in front. I think he said he had 40 tickets, so he basically paid the game for free, but make those big plays in his hometown. I mean, this wide receiver room really coming together. You mentioned Pop Douglas. Diggs had some big plays.
Booty's turning into your big play guy. 75% of his catches. It's not a high production guy, but 75%. I think 3 have gone for touchdowns. The other ones have gone for conversions, like for first down. So that throw at the end of the game, 3rd and 11, that's a 7-year throw, and that's a 7-year wide receiver catch. So you got guys coming in 2 years into it, making that type of play. That's a trust play. It's a hard throw. You know how hard that throw is.
Definitely.
And the Patriots had to overcome some, shall we say, questionable calls.
They suck, Bob.
They suck. Which we can say that. I love it.
We've been doing this 13 years. That crew sucked. Okay? Keep the tape.
We talked during the post-game press conference with Drake about this, where he throws a beautiful ball to Pop Douglas, gets open for a long touchdown pass, but they have that play called back controversially, mysteriously, but then Booty makes the touchdown catch. The offense overcoming those mistakes in the past, they couldn't overcome anything like that.
No, you can't. And you can't when you're a new team scratching, especially when you're playing on the road. It's another road game.
I've been on teams where we throw a deep, you throw a deep pass, you're running down the field, there was a holding call, bring it back, and the drive stalls out. No, they overcome it and keep pushing through it. I think that shows where the mentality of this young team is, especially on offense.
And the defense was down a couple of linemen, Keon White, Anthony Jennings. They had Jalen Hawkins on the bench as well during the game. Davis goes down for a brief time. Lattery goes down briefly. Marcus Jones gets hurt briefly. But they stay together. They bend. They don't break. They hold the Saints to 1 touchdown, even though Spencer Rattler moved the ball with regularity.
I thought Rattler played well in the game. He got rid of the ball quickly. They knew that going in. I think what they were trying to prevent, the big play over the top. You know, you saw the 83-yard touchdown a week ago with Rashid. And what they wanted to do, I think, was keep everything in front of them.
I was pleasantly surprised by Spencer Rattler, the way he played the game.
He can play in the league.
He could definitely play. And their offense, you got to remember, this is Kellen Moore who's coaching this offense. It was well designed, but I think to your point, the defense was a bend but don't break. They held them to field goals, and the Patriots offense scored touchdowns. That was really the difference in the game.
They did blitz on the first play. Carlton Davis, 53-yard completion. I think Mike Reese wrote that it was casual urgency on his part coming off the edge trying to blitz the quarterback.
Took a while to get there. Then he got blocked.
I think those corner blitzes, as you know, Zoe, that's always to test, does the quarterback know what's going on? It's not like you're bringing the guy thinking he's going to get this clean hit on the quarterback. It's more, is this guy ready if we start bringing some of these exotic blitzes? Well, Spencer Rattler showed he was ready, and there was some, they got to him. There was other ones I think you're going to have to be more careful when you're going against a mobile quarterback. You got to make sure you have a disciplined rush, because he was able to extend some plays with his legs.
And on the subject of reviews, Mike Vrabel, John Stryker, the eyes in the sky, they got 2 for 2 in this game, in part because of the questionable officiating, particularly on the play involving Booty in bounds at the end of the game.
Yeah, I mean, Stretch is going to be the guy, kind of what Ernie Adams was for Bill Belichick, and I've got to know him a little bit. I really like him, and I think if you trust the guy and he says, hey, let's challenge us, the ball got punched out, you go ahead and do it. And the more confidence you get and the more challenges you get accepted, I think you feel more confident when he calls down and says, hey, I think I got one.
Yeah, Mike said it from the sideline, hey, we heard hand on ball, and they heard the slap of the leather. And the other one, they coached the receiver to stay in bounds, and he's going to make the effort to stay in bounds, compliment him. Great catch, kid. We got your back. We're challenging it.
All right, Patriots, a much more confident team these days, of course, coming off 3 straight wins, 25-19 over the Saints. We'll come back, though, and talk about an area where they want to get more production and confidence, the running game, right after this.
Patriots This Week is brought to you by Cross Insurance, official insurance broker of the New England Patriots. By DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the New England Patriots. And by Sports Illustrated Tickets, 50 million sports, concerts, and theater tickets. 0 fees. Fans deserve better. Visit SITickets.com today.
This week's Cross Insurance Player of the Week is Christian Ellis, the 6'2", 231-pound linebacker out of the University of Idaho, made one of the biggest defensive plays in the win over the Saints. The 26-year-old forced a fumble midway through the fourth quarter to snuff out a Saints drive. The oldest of 12, Ellis comes from a football family. His dad, Luther, was a first-round pick in 1995. And he has 2 brothers playing in the NFL. The Player of the Week is brought to you by Cross Insurance, the official insurance broker of the New England Patriots.
understand that it's gonna be some dirty runs in there, and that we're gonna have to make a guy miss or break a tackle.
We gotta take some ownership. We gotta get it fixed, and that'll really help this team out.
We are back inside the Bob's Discount Furniture studio, continuing with Patriots This Week as we look at the Pats' run game. A disappointment thus far, even though the Patriots sit at 4-2. And you mentioned the turnover problems early and the effects on the running game. You think they're lingering?
I do, because you hear it all week in practice, right? Because they're not just going to let it go. Even though they publicly back the players, you're going to get it pounded into your head. Hang on to the damn ball here in this drill. They're practicing knocking it out. So what it subconsciously does to you, it makes you tighten up the way you're carrying it. You're not as frivolous with the ball out here, making your cuts. Because I think all three backs, if you go back to preseason, when they hit the hole, they hit the hole. This past game against the Saints, it was 3 or 4 times where it went, ooh, where it looks like there's a hole there, and for whatever reason, they run into a guy or they don't see it properly, or just small contact gets them down. I think they need a couple of those type of games to get under their belt. With him fumbling 3 straight, let's start running a little harder. Let's start running a little faster.
And at the same time, offensive lineman Garrett Bradbury, the center, just said they've got to maintain their blocks, sustain their blocks a little bit longer.
That'll help.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, it's not just the running backs. It's not just the offensive line. It's not just the play calling. It's kind of a compilation of all 3 things. And I think the one thing is, to your points, though, when you're conscious of holding the ball, you're gonna tighten up, and maybe where a few weeks ago before the fumbling issues you tried to hit it a little bit harder, you're gonna make sure you secure the football. That's okay, but now you got to get back to, look, I got to play. As a quarterback, you don't go out there to not throw interceptions. Right. You go out there to play the game, and the same thing with the running back. And I think, if anything, Vrabel has shown he has his players back. So let's get back to being an aggressive runner and know Ivan Fears, the great Ivan Fears, he'd get up there and give ball security. Look, yeah, when you get into traffic, we're going to wrap it up. But if you're out there alone, go ahead and be aggressive in running the football. And I think, man, I'll tell you this much. If they can get to running the football to where they're running 150 yards a game, this is going to be a lethal offense. Josh has still done a tremendous job of not abandoning the run game. And even if you're getting 4 or 3 yards a pop and you only run for 80 yards, if you can set up some of the play action, the long touchdown pass to Pop Douglas, a play action run where the defense overreacts, like, there is a give and take. But if you're getting play action passes off of the run game because the defense has to respect it, you have to factor that in too. But I think, look, there's a few, like you said, there's a few where they're inches away from popping a long one, and we know Travion Henderson has the wheels to go the distance. It's going to come. They just got to stay at it.
It'll be interesting to see what they do at the trade deadline, if they're going to acquire another running back. I know they elevated Jennings this past week, but I think ideally you want that professional back, a veteran back in there to sort of complement Ramondre, because then Henderson gets to his spot where we get him out in space on the perimeter. I think he's less of a between the tackle guy, where Ramondre and the next back would be the big hitters.
All right, so the plans have been accelerated, the rebuilding program for Mike Vrabel's current team. Meanwhile, his former team hits the reset button again. We'll talk about the Titans right after this.
All right, time now for your Zone Show. It's Tennessee Titan Week. You take a look at this football team. Not a lot of good players. Yeah, you got the quarterback there in Ward, #1 pick overall. He's going to be good at some point. Now, fired their head coach, looking for a little bump, but on defense, man, you watch his team play on defense. Jeffrey Simmons in the middle, 6-year guy. Mike Vrabel, when he was the head coach there, he made him the #1 pick, first-round pick for the Titans from Mississippi State. He's got 4.5 sacks. He's 6'4", 310 pounds. I think he's more about 320. Take a look at the tape here. Where's he at? He's right here, freeze it. So it's 4 down, 1, 2, 3, 4. They play that 4-3 right there. Simmons is a wrecking ball in the middle. Little swim move with the hands, gets through to kill the ball carrier. Freeze it right here. Where's he at? Okay, you think, is he offsides? No. He gets up right to the point where, boom, he could swim right through that. So something to watch. If you're watching this guy, tell the side judge, maybe he's cheating it, but where's he at in the middle? Okay, go ahead, roll this tape. Watch the second effort. Boom. Keeps fighting through, gets double teamed, picks it up. So you got to find the human meatball. He's going to be right there in the middle. You got a rookie on the left side of Wilson. You got a Wendell who's an experienced guy on the right, and Bradbury, experienced center. All 3 of those guys should be able to block one. There's your Zoe Show.
And we are back in the Bob's Discount Furniture Studio on Patriots This Week. Bob Socci with Scott Zolak, Brian Hoyer. So we're going down to Nashville again. Whew. Last year, the Patriots lost in overtime despite one of the most amazing plays to end regulation. Touchdown pass from Drake May. They're going back there, though, this season under vastly different circumstances. The Pats now 4-2. Mike Vrabel's former team has won only one game, 4-19 the last 2 years combined, and they just fired their head coach, Brian Callahan.
And everybody worries about the firing bump. You get that bump of a fresh start. I don't, because I don't think the coach is very good. It's interesting to see what's going on down there. They fired John Robinson. They fire Carthon, right? They fire Vrabel. Now they fire this guy. And it's not together. It's all staggered. So you have no patience with anybody building a program down there. So don't think for one instance that not only Mike Vrabel, there are many guys on the staff that work down there at Tennessee that would love to go down there and thump them. They've got a good quarterback. Jeffrey Simmons, as you see in the Zoe show, he's a home wrecker. When you say home wrecker in a dictionary, this guy could disrupt a game, and you can't block him with one guy.
Ex-Titans on the coaching staff, ex-Titans playing. Brian, ex-Titans in the front office for the Patriots.
Don't think for 1 second they don't know what this means for Vrabel. To go back, first time, playing against his old team. They're going to go down there with a purpose, and it's not just to go down and win. It's to win for their head coach and send a message.
Yeah, Mike Vrabel said it's either interesting or important. This falls into the interesting category to us, but you got to think it's important to the Patriots
He's
themselves.
playing it the right way. And, I've talked to him with some of the interviews we do for TV and ultimately radio here prior to the game, and he answers it the right way. It is what it is, But don't tell me, if I got whacked from somewhere, that I wouldn't have to go back there. But that's just my personality. I'm a nasty guy.
Trust me. I was with the Raiders when the Patriots came to town, and trust us, everybody knew. And Josh didn't get fired by the Patriots. This happened to be his old team.
Yeah.
We all knew how much it was going to mean to him to beat his former team. So trust me, the players. Not to mention that a lot of the guys who were there last year lost the way they did to Tennessee. Now you have a staff led by a guy who was fired. Some other guys that were there as well. They know what this means, and I have a feeling they're going to go down there and not just want to win. They're going to want to make sure they send a statement.
And that's the main story. One of the sidebars is the presence of Calvin Ridley.
Sure.
There for
Let's
the
go back
Titans.
to that.
Remember, the Patriots really made a play for him a year ago in free agency. He didn't sign him. He went to Tennessee, and it's been a real disappointment.
Yeah, you look at it that's just such a better situation for me than New England, who was struggling. We were struggling at the time. And that's part of the risk of free agency. You play your cards the right way or wrong way, you end up with a team that can't get out of their way, fire their head coach, and I know he has a hamstring that he's dealing with, but I liked Ridley. I wanted him here. I think he's a good player. He's a guy who can take the top off the defense, and he'll ultimately end up going somewhere else probably after this stop at Tennessee.
But the way things have worked out, they didn't get Ridley. This year they got Diggs.
Yeah, Diggs has been an important piece, and the reality is, and I think we need to look forward, is you were going into the offseason last year, you weren't sure who the quarterback was going to be, but now you're going to go into this offseason, guys around the league are paying attention to what Drake May is doing, and so now it's not going to just be, what are you paying me? Oh, I can come play with this electric young quarterback? He's changing the mindset of potential free agents right now by what he's doing on the field, and so maybe if it had been this, next upcoming year, Calvin Ridley goes, okay, I want to play with that guy.
All right, it's the Patriots and the Titans. Brian and Zoe have the predictions right after this.
Patriots This Week is brought to you by Cross Insurance, official insurance broker of the New England Patriots. By DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the New England Patriots. And by Sports Illustrated Tickets, 50 million sports, concerts, and theater tickets. 0 fees. Fans deserve better. Visit SITickets.com today.
This is the week to start Brian Thomas Jr. The Jaguars receiver has become Trevor Lawrence's go-to guy with back-to-back stellar performances. This will continue when Jacksonville hosts the Rams in London. But sit Troy Franklin. The Broncos wideout has seen his playing time decrease. Expect him not to be a big contributor when Denver hosts the Giants. But don't sleep on Darren Waller. With Tyreek Hill out, the Miami tight end has 4 touchdowns in his last 3 games. Start Waller when the Dolphins play in Cleveland. This week's fantasy picks are brought to you by Verizon.
And we are back on Patriots This Week in the Bob's Discount Furniture Studio. Time for predictions and more. Scott Zolak.
All right, game changers. Stephon Diggs. I think they're going to unleash him this week against a very poor defense. I would go with Drake May, but I'm going to go with Diggs. 34-16 Patriots smoke the Titans.
All right, Zoe cuts loose with a blowout. Brian, what do you got?
I'll take Drake May as the game changer,
Cut
an
the
MVP
cheese.
candidate. We can say that now. It's been 6 weeks. He's playing at that level. And I think the Patriots, like we mentioned before, they're going to send a message for Vrabel. They win 38-7.
All right.
All right, these guys think a high five for the Patriots. Now 4-2 going to Tennessee. 1 o'clock kickoff. Zoe and I will be there for 98.5 The Sports Hub. Thanks so much for joining us. So long, everybody.